Alrighty, my loves, let's talk a little bit. What do you think is the biggest challenges couples face right now?
Honestly, for me, monotony. Monotony is literally just the repeat of something over and over and over and over again. So personally, and this is just based on my relationship, for us, our biggest challenge has always been monotony because you get so caught up in a regular schedule, work, kids, home, chores. If you don't get out of that from time to time, it just gets boring. Anything monotonous gets boring, even a job. So that, to me, that's the biggest challenge couples face today. Some people out there be crazy, and they be hopping on relationships like if it's every week a different color, a different flavor. You know what I mean? And it's for that same reason, because they get bored.
For me, I also feel like you're not gonna be Google Gaga over the same person every single day. There's gonna be days where you're gonna look at them and be like, damn, you still here? Like, you know, but it's the truth. But just because you feel that way doesn't mean that you no longer love them, or doesn't mean that, like the relationship is dead. And I feel like a lot of people misunderstand that. Like sometimes they have like not realistic expectation.
But the internet is to blame, girl. The internet and movies are to blame for those unrealistic expectations.
Sometimes we don't feel Google Gaga over, our partners. But then how about that one day that you're just like, it's like a wave of love just comes over you. You're just like, oh my God, I can't, I just want to squeeze you.
You always love them. You just don't always like them. But people have really effed up expectations, because you expect Prince Charming at all times. You're supposed to come with roses every single day from work. I'm supposed to have chocolates every single day. Like, you come through that door and you need to make me feel like the most important thing in your life. No, sometimes they walk in through that door and they're pissed off because of traffic, and that's okay.
I think as a younger generation, I do see a lot of infidelity. There's a lot of miscommunication, no communication, and like you guys said, putting other things before the relationship, and that even includes your own kids sometimes, honestly.
Yeah, people need to realize that when you're in a relationship, your partner in a relationship is the only person in your life that chooses to be with you.
Right.
Your parents don't choose you. Your children don't choose you. Your family doesn't choose you. The only other people you could say is friends, but those come and go. The only person that chooses you every single day is that person that's in a relationship with you. If we really touch base on the three things that you mentioned, infidelity, it is very common now because people don't value relationships anymore, because the expectation is, well, I'm going to cheat on you before you cheat on me.
But that's not an excuse. You know what I mean? Like,
that happens with our younger generation, especially.
Again, not an excuse. I've been young, I've done stupid things, but I will never account that as an excuse. On the contrary, hold yourself accountable when you have to. If Gordy was to ask me something, anything, I'd tell her the complete truth. I would never lie to her, regardless of what it is. And I've always told her, whether it hurts you, whether, I'm going to tell you the truth.
No.
That's just not something that we do here. That's...
Yeah. I mean, not everybody has that type of maturity, because that does come with maturity, is people doing bad things and not wanting to deal with the consequences. So that's where the lies come in, and the cover-ups, or the blank, it happened, get over it kind of thing, and not let's get over it together, or let's process this. You know what I mean? It's so easy to jump from one thing to the next without having to deal with the consequences that come from that. Nobody wants to get deep. They all just want to be surface level now, and it's easier that way, because if things don't work out, it's on to the next and it don't hurt. I'm not that type of person. If we're in a relationship, I'm deep.
Me too.
I'm fully committed day one So day 2, you break my heart. You breaking my heart into little pieces.
It's not like how it used to be before.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What's the best relationship advice that you guys have ever received?
So I think my best relationship advice that I've received is that all relationships go through hell, but real relationships get through it. You know what I mean? Like, that's tough. That's some real stuff.
My mom told me about this. Me and my husband have been married for 11 years. And I remember when we got to 7 years, we went through a really, really, really rough patch. And I remember mommy saying that it's something about the 7th year and the 10th year that really tests relationship. And it honestly happened to me on both years, but those 2 years were like really, really detrimental to our relationship. All relationships go through hell, but the tough ones, the real ones, make it through. People change, you know, and the person that you met at the beginning is not going to be the person that you keep meeting every single day for the rest of your life. Things are going to happen to them that are going to make them different people. You know, they might have been super extroverted at the beginning and they become introverted. They might have been cheerful, joyful at the beginning, and that could have toned down, and that's okay. You know, people just don't take the time to understand that you can't dwell on the past of, oh, not the person I married. Of course they're not. They're the same person, actually. They're just an evolved version of that person. So the 2-2-2 rule is every 2 weeks you take a solo date. Every 2 months you do a weekend getaway, and every 2 years you do a solo vacation. At the end of the day, remember, it's just the two of you.
One of the best relationship advice that I have ever gotten would be reflect and learn. Openly talk about everything, especially the parts that hurt the most. Of course, nobody's perfect. Tough things do happen. A relationship is structure. You need your good structure to be able to have a healthy and good relationship. And when it comes to communication, trust, honesty, those are things that create that foundation. And if you don't have those things, you know, it's like part of the relationship is like tipping over. Every situation that you go through as couples, as parents, as best friends. I've been lucky enough to be able to say I married my best friend. And, you know, our relationship maybe hasn't been the most perfect one, you know.
Nobody says, girl.
It definitely was everything that I wanted it to be. If it wasn't for that communication, the respect, you know, and all that stuff, like,
yeah,
it's just different.
Yeah. It comes back to maturity. Everybody has to be mature in their own relationship and their own self, and to realize, hey, if I'm lacking on something, it's my responsibility to make it better, to make it work, you know, instead of pointing the finger at somebody else saying, oh, I'm this way because of you. Reflect it back on yourself and be like, well, you know, why am I being this way?
You can always choose to be better.
Definitely.
100%.
Go ahead and comment below some relationship advice that you have gotten that you probably think been the greatest. And what do you think are some of our downfalls that some relationships nowadays have? How important is communication to you in a relationship?
I would say it's the number one most important thing, makes or breaks couples. Nothing else tops communication.
I think communication is definitely number one.
Communication is definitely a 10 out of 10 for me, at least, and my relationship as well. Not only with my wife and my family. So if you don't talk to your partner or your family or your child, a lot of things, a lot of miscommunication.
Yeah.
Right.
And by far, not everybody's good at communication, but strive to always be better.
Alrighty, with all that being said, we've definitely talked about some deep things. We had fun with our new little segment. Half these things, I swear, they don't even sound like it's real. But of course, always remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like what you're watching. See you guys on the next one. Bye.
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 Preach, girl.